Good evening, Montreal. My name is Eve Powell. Tonight on The Ball is Round. Winless in 5 matches, Montreal continues to tread water in the playoff race as other hopefuls start to catch up. And the women's national team returns to winning form in the first leg of the Olympic play-in following their devastating World Cup exit. All that and more on episode 149 of The Ball is Round. And tonight I am leading the line for The Ball is Round, and I'm joined by Hady Raphael as our co-host Elias is in a playoff battle of his own from a coaching standpoint.
Exactly. At least one of us is going to experience 8 playoffs this year. It seems like it. But,
that's like taken out of the pessimistic Eve locker right there.
I'm taking your role today, Eve. I'm taking your role.
We're just trading places.
No, exactly. So thanks for filling up, Eve. I had a very busy day today, so I couldn't really prepare the program. So I'm happy that you did so, and to be sure it's going to be amazing, as you did quite a few times. The animation, it wasn't a problem at all. Of course, I missed my friend Elias. I don't miss soccer at all because I've had a terrible and horrible weekend.
Join the club.
Yeah, exactly. 4-0 loss against Paris today. That was brutal. Really
the
brutal.
Worst.
And yeah, you know what? At least I'm still married. I love my son. So, there's that.
Okay, yeah, you started for looking for joy outside of soccer.
Exactly.
Okay, it's been a rough weekend. Well, I'm very sorry to tell you, but the topic of our podcast remains soccer. So let's do our best.
Can't we talk about, all the lullabies for children and these kinds of stuff? I think that would be more entertaining.
No, I'm gonna stop you right there. As the animator of this episode, that's a firm no. I've got control, and so let me just put everyone at ease. That's not going to happen. We are going to focus on soccer.
and let's go ahead and say hi to Roberto, to Patrick.
2 for 3 for Patrick. Well,
yeah.
Not too bad. Man United, I know, won.
And they finally won. Okay,
yes,
good.
They did. Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Robbie never told us who's his European team. Pretty sure it's a Serie A team, but he never said so.
Have to be right, mystery.
and the Lions won.
The Lions. Okay.
And Matthew says good evening. Hey, Matthew.
Good evening to Matthew. Yes. Awesome. So let's dive in because we have 2 teams that were in competition that we focus on.
Yeah.
So let's get started by talking about kind of ripping off the Band-Aid with last night's match between CF Montreal and Atlanta United in Atlanta. Of course, this is a very hostile stadium for Montreal. They've never picked up a win there. They only ever picked up 1 point there, which was last season. So I think when we talked about this last week, when we were asked the question, kind of what are our predictions, I think all 3 of us were unanimous. No points from this one.
Nah, no points.
Exactly. And turns out we're very, very good predictors. But let's take a look and start from the top at what exactly went down. So first and foremost, let's examine Hernan Lozada's lineup for last night.
Yeah, for sure. Let's take a look at the lineup right now. I'm not really used to do this anymore. So
right, it's hard trading places. Alrighty, so we have Jonathan Sirois in net, Zachary Broguillard on the right wing back position. Our 3 center backs were Joel Waterman, George Campbell, and Gabriela Corbo, with Waterman being in the middle of them, of course. Lassi Lapalainen was the left wing back. Samuel Tiet was captain in the midfield with a surprise start for Ahmed Hamdi, of all people, with Mathieu Chouanière also rounding out the midfield, and Mahala Opoku and Chinonso Ofor up top. Hady, what did you make of this lineup?
Surprised by the inclusion of Ahmed Hamdi. Really very, very surprised. I'm kind of happy that Hamdi now will have a bit more playing time now that Matko is not here anymore. I feel that Hernan Losada is looking at Hamdi as a possible solution whenever there's a need for a more offensive midfielder. So that's, I think, a good thing, because I always liked what Hamdi could bring to the club. It's just I think he's paid a bit too much for what he brings, but I still like what he brings. When it depends on the games, there are some games where he can be important. There are others where he's going to be, unfortunately, anonymous. But yesterday was a good game for him. We'll talk about that a bit later.
Yeah. Certainly, I think he's probably one of very few, if not the only, Montreal players who stood out for at least a brief positive reason. So let's dive right into it. As this match kicked off, I don't think it was very surprising. And Patrick says Hamdi was the only guy who looked good. Yeah, and we'll definitely talk about what made him look particularly good in a few minutes. But as the match kicked off, I wasn't surprised myself. Atlanta completely dominated possession. Their passing was quick. It was fluid. It was one touch. It was kind of like everything I think Hernan Losada wants to play. But of course, being in the first year of this cycle, we know Montreal's not there yet. So unsurprisingly, Atlanta completely dominated the opening stages of the match, and I was kind of surprised that it took them 30 minutes to capitalize. But before we talk about the first goal that was conceded by Montreal, did you have anything to say about the opening stages of the game, Hady?
Oh, yeah, of course. It felt like Montreal came out flat. Like, it's as simple as that. But it felt also that Montreal didn't know what was coming in a certain way.
Which is really surprising for me.
Exactly. And you know what? I felt that. And then, in the post-game presser, we heard Samuel Piet say we weren't really prepared tactically. And that's, for me. Yeah, he said that in English and in French.
Oh, God.
Which is a bit surprising to see the captain a bit throwing his coach under the bus, in my opinion, or the coaching staff under the bus. So I'm not really sure. I felt that CF Montreal wasn't really expecting what Atlanta was going to bring. And when Atlanta came out guns blazing, that's when CF Montreal was like, holy shit, what do we do now?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That really surprises me, because the way Atlanta played, it's not as though they changed anything wildly up last night. I've only caught a limited number of Atlanta matches so far this season. But I think, aside from maybe an errant time under the Dutch coach who came and went, whose name escapes me in the moment, overall, like that high octane, capitalize on your transitions, make the opposition pay, exhaust the crap out of them. Like, that's been Atlanta's DNA ever since they entered the league. So for Montreal to come not prepared, as a player themselves said it, is pretty shocking, I think, to hear, because I think that's one of the teams who is almost one of the easiest to predict in the league, even if it's still very, very hard to prepare to face them.
Yeah, exactly. And just to I know it's bugging you because you can't remember his name. It's Frank de Boer.
Thank you.
That was the coach of Atlanta. It was completely different. You're completely right. But yeah, I'm surprised that CF Montreal wasn't really expecting expecting that, and expecting the way, and countering exactly what Atlanta is bringing. And it was a bit weird because they were overrun in the midfield.
Very
much. We all know how Atlanta. It's always been, even all the teams of Atlanta, as you said, midfielders are super important, and when they're gonna try to overrun the midfield, and unfortunately we didn't have an answer for that. So maybe that should have been the game where you would put two holding midfielders instead of having two offensive midfielders. Maybe ask Mathieu Chouanière to play a bit deeper. I don't know. Something had to be done, and unfortunately,
it wasn't done until it was far too late.
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess in some way, and I'm saying this with great sarcasm in my voice, credit to Montreal, because it did take 30 minutes for Atlanta to score for the first time. So in the 30th minute of the match, like I said, Atlanta was, playing their extremely fast football. And in this case, it came from a phase of transition, which was, eponymous really of their playing style. So the ball was swiftly propelled to the player whose name I'm about to butcher, Saba Lobianji. Hi, help me. On the right side of the Atlanta attack, he crossed the ball across close to the penalty spot to a wide open Jean de Silva, who aired just on the right side of the offside line with a very first time finish, and nobody but Sirois was in front of him. Sirois did get a hand to the shot, but unfortunately was not enough to stop the ball going in. This goal, I watched it as Silva was, sprinting in, and unfortunately Montreal's defense had really just drifted towards the ball carrier. What did you make of it, Hady?
Yeah, as you said, a lot of errors on that goal. I think also there is a keeper error too, because with the firmer hand you wouldn't have that goal.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? It was to be expected. And as you said a bit earlier, it took 30 minutes for Atlanta to score. Or, Montreal was able to withstand the pressure of Atlanta for 30 minutes. That's already that was a bit miraculous. So that goal was coming.
Yeah.
And once again, we saw that midfield being overrun.
Completely.
We saw the defense not being able to keep up with the movement of the offensive line, of Atlanta's offensive line. And, it's a goal. It's as simple as that. And yeah, we thought that maybe that goal would wake the CF Montreal players, but unfortunately it wasn't the case.
No, and you transitioned me so perfectly into what happened 3 minutes later. So thank you for that, Hady. Montreal barely had time to recover from conceding their first goal. And then Silva, once again, he was absolutely a thorn in Montreal's side all night long. Yeah. So you're going to definitely be hearing his name a lot.
And you know what? He comes from Ligue 2 in France. Oh, yeah? And we talked about this here on The Ball is Round. We are the only French club in the MLS, and we should try to use that to our advantage to get those French players here. Mm-hmm. But the French players are going to LA and to Atlanta and to the other clubs, while we are a French city, and we should use that to our advantage. That's the only advantage that we have in MLS. That's something that we should use.
Well, just as a side note, Silva is Portuguese.
Yeah, but he's coming from Gangai, if I'm not mistaken.
No, you're right. Or no, it was Dijon. Sorry.
Dijon, yeah, sorry. There's another one from Gangai. I forgot his name.
Okay, we're good. Yeah, it's kind of a tangent, but no, I understand for sure what you mean about certainly French-speaking players. It being advantageous to be here, but I'm not sure how much French Silva picked up.
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's not because he's French speaking. It's because you're French speaking as a club, and you should have ties with France and whatever is happening in France.
So you should be able to kind of swoop in.
You should be able to swoop in any kind of players that are playing in France. It's as simple as that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Unfortunately, I think if someone wants to go to LA, they're going to go to LA.
Yeah, okay. But Atlanta, man.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. The club is, the stadium is awesome, and the club is big, and there's money. But as a city, what does Atlanta have to?
I visited once. It was nice.
It's not.
It was really humid.
Montreal. It's not Montreal.
To be fair, Montreal is no. I chose to live in Montreal, not Atlanta.
Exactly.
So I have a slight bias toward Montreal as a city. But anyway, let's return to the game. So Montreal, it was the 33rd minute. They barely recovered from conceding their first goal. Caleb Wiley and Silva once again combined in the midfield once again, and played a series of really quick one-touch passes that definitely, eliminated most of Montreal's midfield from the equation. Silva received the ball at the top of the 18-yard box, and he carried it around some kind of want to say they look lost. I honestly wrote lost Montreal players. And he again carried the ball past an on-rushing Sirois, meaning the goal was completely open. Because Sirois has drifted over to the right-hand side to try to close down the attacker. Silva played a quick pass to Thiago Almada, who scored from about 6 yards out, despite there being 2 Montreal players on the line. This, for me, it was like a knife through hot butter. Or a hot knife through butter, I think is the phrase, actually. Like the way that Atlanta just picked their way through Montreal was disconcerting, I think.
Yeah, but you know what? It wasn't too different from the first goal in
No.
a way where
It was just less direct.
it's just an unorganized
Yeah.
CF Montreal defense, completely lost midfield.
Yeah.
And that team wasn't ready tactically. Like, there's nothing more I can say, because I can't really point out an individual in that game that really had a bad game. We can say that the whole team, it was a bad team effort, and not individuals really ruining the game. And that's what really troubles me, is that what did we do to prepare that game? What happened? You know? So I don't know. Honestly, we can talk about all the goals, and it's going to be, I'm going to have the same answer in a certain way.
Right? Right.
And it's just weird. It's just weird what happened.
It really was, wasn't it? It was, well, I don't want to say it was weird, because we did all expect Montreal to lose this match going into it, but not in the way that they did. Exactly.
Yeah, not like that. You know what? Yes, of course, Atlanta has a lot of quality, and I have a tweet a bit later that we'll discuss. Atlanta is in a very good form right now, very good run of form. So it's going to be tough. It was going to be tough to beat Atlanta, but at least, let's prepare the game and at least
make an admirable acquittal of ourselves.
Yeah, or, show something, because we didn't show anything at all yesterday. And it's weird, because we did play a very nice game against Cincinnati on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we should have taken the 3 points, but that's something else. So, that should have been and everybody thought that we were going to lose by 3 or 4 goals against Cincinnati. And you know what? We almost won 1-0. And, the only reason why it was a 1-1 is because of that Sirois, mistake. But the team was very good. And against Atlanta, we saw
the exact opposite,
a completely different team. It didn't seem that it was the same team playing those 2 games.
No, exactly. I wholeheartedly agree with you there. But let's turn to maybe the one positive flash of the match. Sure. So in the 40th minute, Joel Waterman played a deep ball into the opposition territory, which Lassi Lapalainen received, and he carried to the goal line before cutting the ball back to the top of the 18-yard box. Ahmed Hamdi surged in and scored his first goal of the season with a first-time finish into the bottom of Brad Guzan's corner net.
Yeah.
I mean, good goal, good timing for a goal. If ever you're going to score a goal, late in the half is kind of a good time to potentially break up some momentum from the opposition team. I say this knowing exactly how the match went. Do you think, though, that this may have made more of a case for Hamdi going forward in the remaining matches?
Of course. So it's nice to score a goal, and so it's nice to see the way he scored the goal, because the goal itself is important, like as being one goal on a stat sheet, but the way he scored the goal, from a long range shot, that's something that we don't have a lot. No. We haven't seen a lot from CF Montreal on a one-timer, on a half volley. It wasn't an easy shot. That was a very technical shot that he did, and he placed it beautifully. And you know what? That's something, when you see that sort of technical ability, at last, when you see that technical ability from Ahmed Hamdi, you always wonder,
where has it been all this time?
And what he could do going forward, because we all know that Ahmed Hamdi has a bit of talent, because he's an Egyptian international. He was regarded as a very promising player for the national team too. And then he came to Montreal, and unfortunately, we all know what happened. But now we're finally seeing something to look forward to. Now, is he going to be able to show a bit more of that in the last 4 games of the season? And that's what we expect from Ahmed Hamdi, because don't forget, he's at the end of the contract this year.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wants a new
I don't
contract,
know, though.
I think that's going to be very important for him if he finally wakes up and shows his true colors.
I don't know, though. For me, I kind of think that Olivier Renard must have made up his mind by now. That's often how these things
I,
go
I
with
think so
players,
too,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you never know, right? If he has a good end of the season
Mm-hmm.
and is important for the team, maybe Olivier Renard will come back and just offer him something, of course, maybe half his salary, but still a contract to stay with the team. Well, let's wait and see.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. We'll see. But yeah, I think you and I are probably pretty much on the same page.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen, but you never know.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, so Hady, I'm going to turn the tables on you. If you were Coach Lozada at halftime, it's a terrible question, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I hate that question.
All right, what would you have said to your team going into this at 2-1? Any changes
I would have
tactically that
said,
you would have made? I think a few.
oh yeah, for sure. I would have
Right.
said, first of all, you know what, guys? We had a bad half. Let's look at what we can do going forward. At least we're only 1 goal down. So we can salvage something from that game. And of course, I would have made tactical changes. And that's completely, like, for me, it was completely normal to do that. I would have removed, of course, Lassie Lapalainen. I would put Mathieu Chouanière on the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I would put a holding midfielder in the midfield.
To shore it up.
About Samuel Piet. I would love to see Victor Wanyama come in and help Samuel Piet, and just to close down that midfield so that, first of all, that midfield is closed so that the wing backs can do their job on the wings too, because there was a lot of problems on the wings too. So by closing down the midfield, those wing backs will be able to defend even also only on the wings, instead of really cutting back to really help out in the midfield.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, Wanyama had to come in at halftime. Yeah. It was as simple as that. And I know people are going to throw tomatoes at me, but I think that Ofor was the right man for that game. I think it was important to have someone that can win headers in that game and use those crosses, because in the first half, we didn't cross the ball often, unfortunately. We did cross a bit, but we should have used the height and the physicality of Chinonso Ofor a bit more in the box. And that's something that we didn't do enough. And I would have also changed Mahala Opoku. I didn't think he was the right man.
I forgot he was there.
Yeah, I didn't think he was the right profile for that game. So maybe, someone else next to him, maybe Mason Toy, I think could have been interesting in that game. So I would have changed, the profiles that we see in that team, not the formation especially, because I know Hernan Lozada doesn't like to change the formation, but I would have, changed the profiles, as simple as that.
And we did see a change coming into the second half. Yeah. Fernando Alvarez came in for George Campbell. A little bit of a head scratcher for me. Like, obviously nobody covered themselves in glory, as we said. But yeah, I completely agree with you that the midfield was the number one problem to resolve. And swapping in Alvarez for Campbell. Yeah, did you hear anything about it post-game or anything?
No, I didn't. What I saw though is that Alvarez came as a left center back and Corbo went on the right as a right center back.
Right.
And for me, that was a bit disconcerting, because I didn't like the fact that you move a player that has been playing very well as a left center back, and you
Yeah.
put him as a right center back where he hasn't been playing this year. Even if he's able, Gabriele Corbo is able to do a very good job there. I think that was, unfortunately, it unbalanced the team a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Was it an injury for George Campbell? Unfortunately, I wasn't at the presser myself, so I wasn't able to just to know if there was a knock or anything, and I didn't follow today because I left very early this morning. So I'm not really sure if it was an injury or is it because he saw something. Because George Campbell didn't have a very good first half. He was overrun, but everybody was overrun.
Exactly. So, that's the thing. I'm not sure why he would have been the target.
Yeah, exactly. Was a bit. I don't understand why that happened.
No, and I do think you're right, Hady, that that the change of venue for Gabriele Corbo did in fact destabilize him a little bit because less than a minute after kicking off for the second half, we saw the nasty, disastrous returns from halftime come back to haunt Montreal once again. In this case, the ball was played back to José Roy. He tried to play short to Gabriele Corbo, now on the right-hand side of the Montreal defense. He was pressed very, very tightly by Silva and quickly coughed up the ball, which was seized upon by Georgios Yakimakis. Although Yakimakis had been in an offside position, because Gabriele Corbo was deemed the last person to have touched the ball before he received it, his inevitable goal stood. This is just, I don't know what to say about this. This was I don't know, Hady, I don't have a word. Do you have anything to add on this goal other than just like, ugh?
I just need to say what a terrific job from Silva again on this, because it's his pressure that was very, very, very efficient. That made and that created that turnover from Gabriele Corbo. And you know what? Gabriele Corbo has been the MVP for this team this year, right? And now it's been a couple of games where he's had unfortunately some substandard performances. You know, he did score an own goal a few weeks ago, and now that mistake also. So, you know, I don't want to blame Gabriele Corbo. It happens. And you know what? As we said at the beginning of the pod, we weren't expecting to win that game or to get anything from that game. So if there's a game where I would say, you know what, make your mistake, that's today. That was yesterday. Sorry, that was the Atlanta's game. So you know what? Let's hope that we won't see any more mistakes from Gabriele Corbo going forward for the last quarter of the season.
Fingers crossed. So in the 53rd minute, because I think it is worth talking about since you mentioned earlier on, we did see a chance where Chinensa Ofor got his head on the ball. So we saw a cross come in, and I think this was pretty much Montreal's only chance of note for the half. So we saw a cross come in from Zachary Broguillard. It was a very well weighted cross, very well placed, and Chinensa Ofor got the jump on Miles Robinson. Unfortunately, though, his header bounced off the post. Kind of as we asked, I guess, about Mahala Opoku a couple of weeks ago. Could he have done better, do you think?
I don't think so. You know, first of all, he beat Miles Robinson. Miles Robinson is a U.S. international. He's that good. He's really, really good. He's one of the best central defenders in MLS. As simple as that. And then he beats them in the air. I think his header was really, really well placed, really well taken. Unfortunately, he's just unlucky in this instance. Like I'm the first one to criticize whenever someone is having a bad game, but you know, Chinonso, you know, had the perfect play, unfortunately, but just not the luck.
Yeah. No, I kind of agree with you overall. You know, I don't see much more that could have been done.
No,
period.
It was impossible. And even Zachary Broguillard was his cross. He was very good. By the way, if there's something that he improved on, Zachary Broguillard, is his crossing ability, because he wasn't that good, you know, in the past couple of years. And I think this year he added that to his arsenal in a certain way. And we've seen Zachary Broguillard really cross the ball beautifully quite a few times. So, that's something that he added to his arsenal. And for me, that's very important, knowing also that he's nearing the end of his contract. So
yes.
So that could be an interesting thing to look at when Olivier Renard, sits with him and offers him, or in case he does offer him a new contract.
Yeah, good point. So we'll have to see, obviously. So once again, I mean, let's face it, I think the conclusion of this match was pretty much decided at this point. So I am going to jump to the next kind of hot moment of the match, and this one is not a good one for Montreal, unfortunately, again. So in the 87th minute, Joel Waterman, who was already on a yellow card, saw a straight red for a challenge on the striker Jamal Thiar. As a long pass from Thiago Almada was received by the Atlanta striker about 30 yards out, Waterman grabbed at his arm, and as Waterman was the last man back before José Roy, it was deemed by the referee to be a red card worthy, I'm going to say, quote-unquote foul. So his night came to a premature end, and I think most concerningly of all, this means he is going to be absent for Montreal's next match. What do you make of the call? What do you make of what on earth is Montreal going to do next match?
He's going to miss 2 games. 1, he's going to miss a game because of the red card, and 2, he's going to miss the game because of a yellow card, and that's his 8th yellow card. So
right,
he's going to miss 2 games. And for me, that's a big blow for CF Montreal.
Massive.
Because you look at the game that Joel Waterman played, I think he had a very good game yesterday. Even if the team, conceded a few goals, he really had a good game. And we haven't seen Joel Waterman, really get really beaten, one-on-one or anything. And I think it's his position. We talked about it here. His position is the middle of the back 3.
Yeah.
That's where he's very good. And
I don't know what other defender can slot in to play that position.
That's the problem. And I hope that it's not going to be George Campbell, because
we saw that.
I don't want that. So
we lived that experiment. We've had enough.
Exactly. So we'll see what's going to happen. But yeah, of course, that makes the task even more tough for CF Montreal going forward, because Joel Waterman is a big piece of that back line. So
to me, he's almost the biggest now that Rudy Camacho has departed. I know that we said Gabriela Corbo has probably overall been the best defender.
Yeah.
But I think still rather Joel Waterman is the most important, because there's really nobody who can fill in adequately for him.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I don't envy Hernan Lozada going into the next 2 matches for sure.
No. Because right now, who are your central defenders? So you have Corbo, you have Campbell, then you have Jabang, and you have Thorkelson,
who's still injured, maybe?
I'm not sure. We haven't seen him.
He's been injured for quite a while.
Maybe since the beginning of the season, we haven't seen him. So you don't have a lot of choice. So you're either going to have to play George Campbell again or Gabriel Corbo, but who do you put on the left? I think it's going to be Corbo in the middle, Campbell on the right, and then on the left you'll see
Alvarez.
Alvarez, exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm leaning toward as well.
Let's wait and see.
Indeed, let's wait and see. So Atlanta did score a 4th goal. Do you want to spend any time breaking this one down, Hady, or are you ready to move on and talk about other topics?
I'm ready to move on. But you know what? At least, that 4th goal wasn't a big problem for me, because I think that CF Montreal was trying to get something out of the game, and they pushed a bit forward, and that created those massive spaces and holes in the defense, knowing that they're playing 10 against 11. So that's a normal 4th goal, and no one to blame or nothing to say about it.
Agree. So alas. So that match happened.
Unfortunately.
Is there anything else that you want to say about that match before we take a look at the playoff picture going forward?
About the game, not really. I think that Hernan Lozada was just beaten
outcoached.
and outcoached. As simple as that.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you know what? At least other results went our way. So we'll look at the standings in a few seconds. So
For
thank
sure.
God we're not really completely out of the playoff picture, even if it's going to be
Yes.
very, very tough.
Absolutely. So so let's take a look here at our standings now that you've segued us so nicely.
Yeah, I'm
into
the
that
one always
topic.
segueing. I'm sorry. I'm just.
No, I love it. I love it.
I'm
You're
used to
making my
that.
job so easy. I'm just like, oh, great, Hady. On we go. All right. So here are our playoff standings. So Montreal clings to the 8th position somehow, despite not winning in the past 5 matches. So they're in 8th place on 37 points with 30 matches played. NYCFC have snuck in to 9th place with their win over Toronto, with our neighbors to the west making no favors for Montreal. They are also tied with Montreal for points on 37 points with 31 matches played. Montreal has the advantage because they have 3 more wins than NYCFC. DC United is occupying 10th position with 36 points on 31 games played. New York Red Bulls have also crept upwards into 11th position with 34 points on 30 games played, which is the exact same as Chicago, who's in 12th position. 13th, we have Charlotte with 33 points from 29 matches. And in 14th, we have Miami with 31 points out of 28 matches. So, Hady, we've had a little bit of a shakeup down around this playoff line. New York City are proving that they're not dead and gone, certainly by any stretch. And I think if you look at the matches remaining between the two teams, Montreal versus who Montreal has left to play, and just as a reminder, it's at Orlando, hosting Houston, hosting Portland, and at Columbus to wrap up the season. Whereas I think NYCFC have some extremely important matches because they're playing several teams that are around Montreal, around Montreal and around them, fighting for those last playoff spots. And their remaining 3 matches are against, they are at Miami, they are at DC, and they are hosting Chicago.
That's going to be tough also for NYCFC, yeah?
Absolutely. I think overall, I think Montreal has the stronger opposition to face, but those are all 6-point matches for NYCFC.
I don't think that Montreal has the toughest schedule. I think that there's no easy schedule for anybody now. None. Like I'm looking at DC United. DC is going to play in Vancouver, then in Austin, and then playing at home against New York City FC. You're looking at Chicago. If you look at Chicago, they have also a very, very tough few games left. So they're going at the Red Bulls. They're playing against Miami at home, against Charlotte, and then in New York City.
Yeah.
So, nobody has an easy game. We thought that the Red Bulls were completely out of contention, but you know what? They went and won in DC 4-3 in a very epic game. So, the end of the season is always very, very, very tough for all the teams. Mm-hmm. And the problem that we have is that what you need to do is to always be in the playoff contention. And at the end of the season, you need to really, really go for it and really start getting those runs and a positive run.
That's the thing.
CF Montreal hasn't been doing that, and that's what's really worrying. Right now.
That's the thing. They've really. I mean, it's been 5 matches now without a win. 2 draws at home. I think both of which, neither of those draws feel like, oh, we should be grateful that we took that point. Both of those draws wound up feeling like points left on the table. So yeah, I completely agree with you that Montreal, the form that they're going into this final push with is the exact opposite of the form that you want a team contending for playoffs to be in. And
but you know what? Chicago has been even worse. With 7 games with no wins. So things can happen. There's still 4 games left. That's the positive side of things. Let's look at the tweet from Matthias Van Haast, who's a very good friend of mine, that says that, okay, it's in French. Sorry, I didn't have time to translate it. But these are the points taken from each team in MLS in the last 6 games. So Houston is number 1 with 14 points.
Oh, great.
That's one of our opponents. Orlando, another one of our opponents, is in second place with 13 points.
Oh, great.
Miami also with 13 points. Portland, the third one of our opponents, with 13 points too. And Columbus is with 12 points in number 5, and that's our 4th opponent. So 4 of our 5 opponents, remaining opponents, sorry, 4 of all 4 of our opponents are in the top 5 in points gained in the last 6 games in MLS. It's as tough. It cannot get any tougher than that, unfortunately.
No. It's bad. It's looking like a struggle, for sure. I am not sure what to make of it. I struggle to see Montreal coming through this. Like I know I came off as the resident pessimist, saying 4 points from this last surge, and I know that none of us expected much against Cincinnati, so that's almost like a bonus point. But looking at that, like, that makes me want to amend my take from last week to be even more pessimistic and be like, we should take that point and just cherish it. So that's all we're getting.
But you know what? That's where I disagree with you.
All right, you hit me, Hady.
And you know what? It's whenever we thought that CF Montreal was completely lost and was completely done, that's when we saw a team that was able to compete.
They do like having their backs against the wall.
Exactly. And we saw it just before Cincinnati. Everybody thought that CF Montreal was going to get crushed by Cincinnati. And you know what? It was kind of, you would think that would be completely normal because, we had a very bad game against Chicago. We lost at home against Columbus. We had a pretty bad loss in New York City FC in Yankee Stadium. So we thought playing against let's say it's the Shield champions, because I'm pretty sure they're going to lift the Shield, it was going to be very tough. And they had a great game against Cincinnati. A really, really great game. And you know what? That 1-1, yes, of course, that was that mistake at the end, but that was really, really good. Roberto is asking me to get the white flag. I'm not getting the white flag. You know what? I really think that CF Montreal is going to pull off and is going to go to the playoffs. I know it's going to be tough, but I have that feeling that whenever CF Montreal has their backs against the wall, that young team is able to do wonders. And hopefully I'll be right. You don't need to win a lot of games. You just need to win 1 or 2. I think.
Well, Fred Nancy said you need 13 wins. Montreal has 11.
Yeah, so 2.
Okay.
2 wins. 2 wins, or maybe a win and 2 draws, and I think we'll be okay.
Against 4 of the hottest teams in MLS right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's talk about the teams that we're playing, okay? Let's talk about the teams that we're playing. First of all, Orlando City is playing Montreal the next week.
They're playing, yeah.
But they're also playing right now against Inter Miami. And they just lost against New York City FC 2-0.
But that's one of the teams I had Montreal pegged to possibly take a point from.
That's possible. So let's say that it's not going to be that Orlando team that's going to be so overwhelming for CF Montreal. If CF Montreal comes with the right mindset and with the right tactics against them.
Well,
so that's
any tactics. Any
tactics. The other 2, Houston and Portland. Houston would have had played that US Open Cup final.
Yeah.
3 days, a week before playing against Montreal. We all know that losing a final can get very hard on you if they lose against Inter Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're playing Dallas right after. So are they going to be in the right mindset playing in Montreal? That's something also.
And it's a midweek match.
Exactly. So that's something else. And then Portland. Yes, that's the team that really scares me a bit, because Portland has been so bad this year, but lately
They kind of woke up.
Yeah, exactly. They found a second
Wind.
Yeah, a second wind. Sorry, I was looking for the word. A second wind, and they won against Salt Lake City. They went in Seattle. They had a draw there. They won against the LAFC. They won in Austin. They won against San Jose. They won against Colorado. They're really doing very well. But look at that. The week before, they're playing in Los Angeles against the Galaxy, and it's always tough to play against the Galaxy. I think the Galaxy is also playing, maybe has a chance of making the playoffs still, even if it's very, 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 very hard. It's going to be very hard for them because they're 6 points away from a playoff.
Yeah, they're 13th right now out of 14.
Yeah, but Miami is 14th, and everybody's sure that they're going to be the playoffs, and they're 6 points from 9th spot. So, it's kind of the same, right? So
I suppose, yeah.
So let's wait and see what's going to happen. And then the last game of the season, Columbus. I'm sorry, we lost against Columbus at home. Yes, 4-2. But we all know that game could have been completely different because that Columbus team doesn't know how to defend. So that's also a possibility. So I don't think that Montreal is completely done. Let's wait and see what Hernán Losada is cooking and what he's preparing for his team, and who's gonna be the players that are gonna lift that team up, because I'm pretty sure that we're gonna see some players really rise. See some very good performances. I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. I admire your unbridled, unrelenting optimism in the face of what I am ready to bust out my sewing machine and make a little white flag. So, okay. As always, at least we balance each other out, right?
Exactly.
All right. Anything else you want to add on the playoff picture before we move along to our next topic?
No, I think I said it all.
You did. You said a lot.
Thank you. Are you saying I talk too much, Eve? Hey guys, come on. I have Roberto saying I have to admire persistence in believing Hady. You know what? I want if Montreal makes the playoffs, I want formal excuses. Okay, Robbie.
Like formal apologies.
I want formal excuses. But you know what? At the beginning of the season, I said between 8th and 10th position. I think we're going to be, if we're missing the playoffs, we're in 10th position. I don't think we're going to be far from that. So let's wait and see. Eve, I have one thing to tell you.
Tell me.
During that episode, we reached 300 hours.
We did.
300 hours of The Ball is Round, or Soccer by Paul and Hady, and The Ball is Round. That's a milestone.
I know. I feel so bad that Elias is not here to celebrate with us. And you know what? That was in my mind because was it Yannick who had mentioned it?
Yeah, Yannick Hamelin, yes.
Yeah, and it was in my mind. But then I realized we were probably going to hit our 3 minutes like as the jingle was playing, and I was like, "Oh shoot!" I didn't want to interrupt it. Yes. So we're now at like 350-ish. A few less, obviously, because we had our intro time. But yeah, historic moment, Hady.
Very historic moment. Very
300 hours.
And as I said on Twitter, but now with Twitter and the new algorithm, I think that nobody's seeing my tweets, but it's okay. I need to pay for people to see my tweets, but whatever. I just need to say, I think that journey is here. We're still in it, and of course, going to continue. But I've been really so lucky to have worked with so many great people like Paul Vance, like Samuel Savy, like you, Eve, like Elias. I'm not going to name the guests because we had so many. And they were all so amazing, players, coaches, former other podcasters. And there's so many of them that made that journey so special. And I just want to make sure that we celebrate that moment because it's
Absolutely.
really, really fun. And next week is going to be the 150th episode of The Ball Is Round.
Oh,
So that's
no.
also another milestone. And I won't be here.
I need
It's
to
going to piss
run.
me off. But you know what? You know, I'm super happy. I'm super happy.
Same. I can't believe we made it. And keeping in the vein of good news, I think Robbie says you have a deal for your formal apology.
Good.
So
At least he didn't ask me to do something in return.
Yeah, very grateful for that. Alrighty. So, yeah, let's talk about some happy soccer news, shall we?
Yeah. Were there any happy soccer moments?
Well, if you, like me, tuned into One Soccer on Friday night,
yes,
then yes, there was some happy soccer news. So I've been dying to talk about this all episode.
Yeah,
same. You ready?
Same, but I think we're going to balance each other out, I think, this time also.
I think so. I think I'm about to become the relentless optimist, and you're about to hit me with a dose of realism.
Exactly. Go ahead.
Okay, Hady. All right, so let's take a look. So as our listeners may know, Canada is currently disputing the two-legged play-in matches, if you will, for the 2024 Olympics to be held in Paris. In order to qualify, Canada needs to beat Jamaica across both legs. And on Friday night, they played the first away leg in Jamaica. They're going to play, of course, the return leg on Tuesday in Toronto, and we'll definitely take like a deeper look at what that picture is going to look like. Maybe once we look back on the match that just took place in Jamaica. So, of course, going into this match, I think there were a lot of concerns about the form that Canada was going to be in, and all the more so because it was in such sharp opposition to the form that Jamaica was in. Jamaica had a historic performance at the Women's World Cup, whereas Canada completely crashed and burned. And I think there were a ton of questions around Bev Priestman, around her squad selection, around her lineups, around the form of the players themselves. And so I don't think anybody was taking this match for granted going into it. Hady, how are you feeling like before the lineup even came out going into this match?
For me, Canada had to win that game, but it was the style of play and the way they won the game that was going to be important for me.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty confident that Canada was going to go out and win that game because, you know, that team is talented. That Canadian team is very, very talented. But unfortunately, there are some things in big games that are not being done. There are some decisions that are not being taken. And when they play weaker oppositions, they tend to win. So I wasn't really afraid. And we'll talk about the content of that game, you know, in the next few minutes for sure.
For sure. So first off, let's look at the lineup that Bev Priestman put out. First,
I forgot to put my soccer ball, and now it should be red.
Oh,
oh yeah, now it's red.
Okay. That was such a surprising turn of events.
It's important for me, you know.
It's really cute.
Red
is it like
when
a
we
laser?
talk about the,
Is it like a laser or something?
No, it's a light.
Oh, it lights up. Oh,
yeah, it
cute.
lights up, and you can change the colors. You see,
evidently,
I can put it in blue. I can put it in the lighter blue.
Is that new?
In yellow.
Is that new?
No, I've had it for a while.
Have you had it on every time we've recorded? No,
yes.
This is the. Oh my god. Okay. That was fun to help. Okay. Like sometimes when we're recording, I'm feeling a little fragile, okay? And I'm not super observant.
It's okay.
All right. Now that our decorative soccer ball is the right color, are we ready to talk about the lineup?
Yes, we are.
All right, let's go. Okay, so Bev Priestman gave us a lineup of Kaylin Sheridan in net. We had a back three of Kadisha Buchanan, Vanessa Gilles, and the return of Jade Rose, who missed the World Cup, unfortunately, through injury. We saw Sydney Collins at the left wingback-ish position. And we saw Ashley Lawrence on the right. Then we had, of course, Quinn playing holding midfield, along with Captain Jessie Fleming. And Who am I missing? I'm so sorry I didn't go
That's
down the
it.
list
And then
properly.
up front, you
We had
had
Lacasse, Leon, and Nichelle Prince also returning to form from injury. On the bench, we had Maria Yasmin Alidou, Simi Awujo, Gabrielle Carl, who I think is someone we've wanted to see quite a lot, Sabrina D'Angelo, Julia Grosso, Jordan Heidema, Lucienne Proux, Christine Sinclair, Olivia Smith, Bianca Saint-Georges, Evelyn Vien, and Shalina Zadorsky. So I had a lot of surprises in this lineup, Hady, but I'm going to let you go first.
First of all, props to Beth Friesman to go back with the back three. We said it the last time. We needed to see a back three and that and with that Canadian national team, and we saw it. And I think that's the tactical formation that they should use all the time, because
I liked it.
Right now you have Jade Rose. We always talk about Shalina Zadorsky. I think she's someone that should be in there, but you know what? It feels that Beth Priestman sees Jade Rose as being an essential part of that team, and she also said that she missed Jade Rose in the World Cup, which is for me is a very big say, knowing that Jade Rose is kind of a rookie still, right? So
very much so. I mean, she's still playing for Harvard.
And she's very but playing for Harvard is not the problem. It's just that she doesn't have a lot of caps, right? So and she hasn't been playing with the first team for long. So that's the first thing. And I thought that we would have seen Zadorsky slot in the middle of that back three, but we didn't. And you know what? I think that the back three was pretty good. And finally, we had Ashley Lawrence playing as a right wing back, which is her position. Please, I do not want to see her elsewhere. Do not. I was surprised to see Sydney Collins as the left wing back. Very, very surprised. Quinn, of course, Quinn Fleming. I was expecting to see a three-man midfield.
Three-player
midfield. Yeah,
three-player. I would say three-player.
Yeah, in this instance, three-player midfield. I think that would have been better. But you know what? Two-player midfield with up top Leon, Nichelle Prince, which is interesting. Very interesting choice.
I was tremendously surprised by the choice up top.
Same.
I think even if you include Chloe Lacasse, we've struggled to see her get starts with this national team. But Bev Priestman has so consistently, I think, deferred to starting either Christine Sinclair or more recently Jordan Heitema at in the striker position, that I kind of just thought of it as a foregone conclusion, honestly. So I was really, really surprised, and I can't remember the last time we saw Nichelle Prince playing as a true striker in this Canadian national. I was trying to think of it, and I truly can't think of the last time. So
but you know what? It was nice because it was a bit unbalanced in a certain way, because Chloe Lacasse was really playing as a left winger.
Yeah.
And then you saw Adriana Leon and Nichelle Prince play in the middle.
A lot more centrally,
a lot more centrally. And so Ashley Lawrence was playing kind of two roles. She was playing the right back and the right winger's role together, like a real right wing back. And on the other side, you had Sydney Collins playing as a left back and not a left wing back, and Chloe Lacasse playing as a left winger. I like that diversity. Tactically, I really like it. I think that was very intelligent from Beth Priestman. And we also saw, of course, Adriana Leon play a lot on the right wing too. But
which made sense because there's more room.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So it was interesting. It was very interesting, I think.
It was. And I think it wasn't tremendously surprising that Canada, they, unless your name is Pessimistic Eve, they were overall the favorites going into this match. So I don't think it was tremendously surprising for any of us to see them, overall dominate a lot of possession on the ball, and just have kind of a quicker pace of play than their counterparts from Jamaica. Unfortunately, it was a true CONCACAF pitch, so that definitely didn't necessarily lend itself to the most beautiful football we've ever watched, but CONCACAF gonna CONCACAF, right? Speaking of Ashley Lawrence, though, I think she had a tremendous match. For me,
Wow.
like you said, I never want to see her in another position ever.
No. She has to be the right wing back all the time, right wing back, sorry, all the time,
Mm-hmm.
or right back if we're playing with the back four. But I don't think we're going to see a back four
For quite some
anytime
time.
soon.
Yeah.
No, that's her position, and you know what? Her movement off the ball,
Yeah,
is so interesting.
it
She's a
is.
world class player.
She is, and
She's a world class player. We have two world class players right now that are, for me, really, really important. You have Ashley Lawrence and Kadisha Buchanan.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa Gilles is maybe gonna be there, but
Mm-hmm.
she's not quite there yet. But those two players, a lot of people are gonna tell me Jessie Fleming. Of course, Jessie Fleming too. We didn't see it that much yesterday.
Yeah.
Friday. So, I think she should have been a bit better, in my opinion. Jessie Fleming.
Maybe. Like I said, I found like I think for a player like her, I think she does need a pitch where the ball is going to move a lot faster. I feel like the waterlogged pitch really did slow things down at times. And so I felt that didn't help her out.
I agree.
Yeah, so I was kind of like not tremendously holding or terribly, I guess, holding it against her.
But if you're a world class player,
yes, you make it work no matter what.
Exactly. Like Ashley Lawrence did, and like Kadisha Buchanan did.
True story. Because Ashley Lawrence obviously was, I think, so instrumental in Canada's opening goal that came in the 18th minute of that match. The poor players who had to attempt to mark her on the Jamaican team. I know one of them was Blackwood and the other, I believe, was Brown. Unfortunately, she turned them inside out most of the match. And then when subs happened, same thing happened until she departed the match. But Ashley Lawrence, on one of the numerous times that she really had free reign of that right flank, she carried the ball and played a phenomenally weighted cross right to the head of Nichelle Prince, who was ready and waiting to receive it. And she had a close range header to score for the opener. I love this goal so much. How do you feel, Hady? What did you see from Lawrence, from Prince, from?
Listen, I'm not a big fan of Nichelle Prince. Not saying that she's not good. For me, there's two players that are kind of the same in that team, and it's Nichelle Prince and Deanne Rose. For me, it's the same kind of player, and I love Deanne Rose. So I'm not someone that really likes Nichelle Prince, but I'm going to be very honest. I didn't think she had it in her to score that kind of goal. And you know what? Props to her. Great goal. The header is not easy to make. No. To redirect the ball this way.
She was tightly marked as well.
She was tightly marked, but also like the placement of the ball. And that's very, very hard to do. So, no, amazing goal. And of course, the cross was
sublime.
So amazing that. But you had a lot to do still.
Yeah.
The cross was really, really good. The power on the cross was very important. So she just needed to touch it the right way, and she did it. And it was very tough to do. So, the two players played a big part on that goal, and it wasn't a simple tap in for Nichelle Prince.
No.
So yeah, no. Love the goal. Love the quality.
Excellent.
The execution and everything around that goal.
Agree. So for the remainder of the first half of that match, Canada continued to enjoy a lot of possession. Unfortunately, they didn't really create very much in the way of chances. Jamaica was a little bit threatening, particularly on some set pieces that they had earned. However, at halftime, the match was 1-0. Hady?
Yeah. This is my time to talk now.
Yeah, go for it.
Because that's where I'm going to be.
You're going to hit us with some realism?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it. I'm bracing myself.
Jamaica was so weak in that first half. It's not that Canada was good. Jamaica was weak. Like very, very weak in that first half. And Canada had to score more than once. They had to score 3 or 4 goals in that first half because Jamaica wasn't doing anything in that first half. And for me, that was really, really bad because the link-up play between the players wasn't here. I know what Beth Friesman tried to do is to make sure that, we do some link up play on a side and then cross on a weak side in order to score goals. Unfortunately, the crosses were very bad most of the time. We saw that cross from Ashley Lawrence that was very, very beautiful, but the rest of the crosses were so bad. Most of them even went in goal kick.
Yeah, Adriana Leon in particular. I think her crosses they stuck out to me.
Yeah, but even Lacasse a couple of times it happens also.
Yeah.
Because Lacasse is the kind of player that needs to cut inside and shoot the ball. She's not really. I haven't seen her a lot. Just staying wide and crossing the ball. It's usually she cuts in, she dribbles, she cuts in, and she goes inside. So we haven't seen that crossing ability from the left. And Sydney Collins, we all know, yes, she was playing as a left back, but she's a central defender, naturally. So I wasn't really expecting her to really cross the ball plenty of times. So for me, that was a missed opportunity. And if you were playing against a better team,
probably
even if they had a bad half, the second half would have been terrible for Canada, in my opinion.
Oh boy. Okay. No, I mean, I see your point. I do. I see your point about some of the quality of the delivery. I do think, like, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard being in CONCACAF.
You're always a softie when it comes to the women's national team.
I don't know. No.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You're so mean with CF Montreal, and you're softy when we talk about the women's national team.
But can you let me finish my sentence?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. I think it's hard playing in CONCACAF because, I mean, it's the same thing for our men's national team. It's hard playing in CONCACAF just because there's such limitations to the opposition. Like, it's just frustrating in that regard. You know what I mean? Canada never gets to play meaningful games against other opposition except at the World Cup and the Olympics, pending Olympic qualification.
Or Brazil.
No, I said meaningful.
I think we played Brazil maybe 6 times in the past couple of years.
No, but I meant like not friendlies outside of friendlies. Yeah. No, because the She Believes Cup is like a glorified friendly. Like,
but still, it's still friendly. So you still have to be at the level, right?
No, but I think it's part of the trap of playing in CONCACAF. Like, I'm not saying that it's justifiable not to score a bunch of goals. I just think playing in CONCACAF, when you are not a team who's kind of on the up and coming, you're a team that's already been established as a power within CONCACAF. I think it's easy to be complacent, quite frankly. And I'm not saying that there's an excuse for complacency. But you know what? But do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. But
I'm not saying that it's a valid excuse. I'm just saying that I could see it happening.
Yeah, but look at the. I look at the men's teams. The US is pretty good, and they're playing in CONCACAF. And look at even South America. You have Argentina, you have Brazil. They're always very, very good. Even if the rest of the South American teams are good, but not that good.
Yeah.
So and they're able to still compete at the world level. So for me, it's not about being in a region that has weaker teams that makes it harder. I think it's about how you prepare your games, where your players play, because in Argentina for the men's, Argentina and the Brazil players, most of them
play all over the place. Yeah,
exactly. And Europe are all over the place. So we're getting there, and I think of course we need that. We always say it, but we need our own league. So
yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
So we'll see.
I agree with you. Okay, on that we can agree.
Okay, good.
All right.
You're still a softie when it comes to the women's national team.
I am always going to be a softie for our women's national team. I'm sorry. It's just
It's okay. You're allowed. You're allowed.
Okay. As long as I'm allowed. Thanks. So I think the second half was very, very similar to the first half for the vast majority of the match. Canada continued to dominate possession. They did certainly start with a couple of really good chances. They did force a few good saves from the Jamaican keeper. They hit the crossbar on one occasion as well. But Canada really didn't score their insurance goal until into second half stoppage time. And I feel it is important to mention this goal because it was a milestone match for Adriana Leon because she was playing her 100th cap with Canada. And who else should score but her? So on this goal, we had Julia Grosso, who had stepped into the match. She played the ball out wide for Chloe Lacasse from the midfield. Her low cross was tapped home by Adriana Leon. And no better way to celebrate, right?
Was it Chloe Lacasse? It wasn't Gabrielle Carl?
Oh my God, it was Gabrielle Carl. Yeah, okay. It was Gabrielle Carl. I even tweeted that.
Yeah, exactly. It was Gabrielle Carl.
It was Gabrielle Carl. I apologize.
Yeah. There's so many things that I like on that goal.
Mm-hmm.
First
the presence
of all,
of Gabrielle Carl on the pitch.
First of all, the substitutions. You have two substitutes that are involved in that goal, and that means that the coach, did her job by putting in players that are going to make a difference. Julia Grosso was immense when she came on the pitch. Gabrielle Carl was really, really good when she came on the pitch, and that cross was really well weighed. And Adriana Leon scored a goal, And
I mean, she's struggled for minutes at the club level. She's had a really hard time of it, I think, overall.
I feel that Manchester United, our friends Patrick's team, don't really like Canadian players because they sign them and just sit them on the bench.
Well, Jade Riviere is now injured again.
Really? Yeah. Because she was on the bench and she wasn't injured for maybe 3-4 games. That one.
Yes. No, you're correct that it was recently, I guess, that she's been injured because she had to withdraw from camp, right? That's why who joined? I forget who joined. Annabelle Chukwu, I think it was, who joined to replace her, because Deanne Rose also had to pull out through injury. That being said, no, I completely agree with you. But obviously, Adriana Leon, she has moved on from Manchester United. She's now with Aston Villa. So the WSL hasn't started yet, so it's kind of hard to tell how much playing time she's going to get. They don't start until I believe it's next weekend. So hopefully she will get more regular playing time because we have seen her when she's been in form.
I hope
and
so.
She has played very well for Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree with you overall. It was great to see the subs combine. So looking ahead to Tuesday, which is a super important match for Canada. Of course, it's the first time the women's national team has played at home since 2021, which is depressing, but it's the truth. And they're going to be
sold out field.
That's in my notes, Hady.
Oh, sorry.
They're playing in a sold-out BMO field on Tuesday evening, and of course, it will be once again Jamaica who they face off against. So, what do you want to see? What changes would you like to see from Bev Priestman going into this match?
Goals, lots of goals. I want to see a 7-8-0 win,
like a thrashing.
I want to see Canada really wake up and really create chances because I haven't seen enough chances created in that game in Kingston. Yes, of course, the second half was better, but for 90 minutes, that team, the Canadian team, has to show who's superior. And that's what I want to see in that game. I like the fact that Bev Priestman, tried to change things up from the World Cup, but we need to see better results, more effective way of playing, more offensive, more direct, more vertical sometimes, and a better technical ability because those crossing woes, they have to end. It's just not normal at that level. It's just not normal.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I think it's going to be interesting. I think Canada is going to be very, very, they're going into this obviously with 2 road goals. So I'll be curious to see if Bev Priestman, uses the same lineup that was relatively effective, not up to Hady standards, but relatively effective in Kingston.
It was.
Okay.
It was in a way where we won 2-0 in Kingston away from home. So, at the end of the day,
it got the job done.
Effective. It got the job done, but I think we should create more. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. So yeah, no, but are there any players who you would like to see start instead of somebody who started this match or this most
Yeah.
recent match? Evelyn
Yeah.
Viens?
No, I don't think that if you want to play
Okay,
the
nice
same kind
training.
of game,
Yeah.
where you have very mobile,
Hmm.
a very mobile offensive line, you don't want Evelyn Vian to be
I
there because
wholeheartedly agree.
she's going to be a poacher. So
Yeah.
she's not going to be that kind of player. Now playing at home, I don't think you want to reproduce what you did away from home.
Agree.
So I think you're gonna have a different style, maybe possession-based kind of game, and that's when you need someone a poacher. That's when you need an
Yeah.
Via. So it all depends what she's looking for, Beth Priestman, and what she's expecting from Jamaica, because Jamaica has their backs to the wall. So maybe they're gonna come and really try to go forward and try to go to score goals as soon as possible with the Kadisha Shaw that's always very, very threatening. So let's wait and see. But I want to see the back three. And again, I think that we need to go with Lawrence on the right and maybe Gabriel Carl on the left, because you want to see a more offensive left wing back this time around. I hope that we're going to see a 3-player midfield
with Julia Grosso.
I don't know. I kind of think that maybe we would see Grosso, Fleming, and St. Clair in the midfield. We know that St. Clair can play as a number 10 in a certain way. And up front, I would have Leon and Vian. Okay. That's what I would choose, but I don't think that's what we're going to see from Beth Priestman.
I was going to say that would be a pretty hard left turn from the tactics that we just saw. Yeah. And I think especially as Beth Priestman is kind of trying to reestablish her footing, as the coach of this national team, I would be really surprised to see her make that many changes from one match to the next, even though it's changing from away to at home.
There's not a lot of changes in my lineup, because at the end of the day, you only have 3 changes.
Yeah, no, I suppose it's only 3. I think, but then formation wise as well, it's it's also a big departure there.
I agree. Yeah. I don't think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see the same kind of formation.
Yeah.
With maybe a couple of personnel change, with maybe Chloe Lacasse not starting the game, but maybe we'll see, Christine St. Clair start the game with maybe Leon playing on the left and Prince playing on the right, and then St. Clair playing as a striker. And I don't think we're going to see Sydney Collins again as a left wing back, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. And it'll certainly be interesting. And obviously I'll be tuning in on Tuesday, crossing my fingers, crossing my toes, because I am the resident pessimist, even if I am apparently a softie.
You are a softie.
So I refuse to believe the job is done until the final whistle blows.
Oh, come on. It's 2-0 away from home.
Nope. Do not jinx me, Hady.
If it was 4-0 away from home, would you have been like a bit more?
Maybe a little more.
Oh, wow, you're so hard. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. No, I think it's gonna be pretty easy.
Hopefully
for the women's national team.
Yeah.
At worst, it's gonna be a draw. So we'll see.
Oh God, I hate when you do that.
Yeah. At worst.
All right. Are you ready to move on to social media?
Yes, I am, my friend. I am. Let's move on with social media. So first of all, let's introduce the segment.
All right. Are you running the show for this one?
Of course I am. I chose the tweets. Come on. So first tweet, it's from Manny FG. So Manny Lake Show 96. I saw the highlight from last night's CF Montreal game. Dio mio, we played awful. If we lose next Saturday versus Orlando, there's no way we're making the play-in. What do you think, Eve? Do you agree with Manny?
How resident. Well, I already said Montreal's not making the playoffs this year.
No, but that's not my question. My question is if they lose the game in Orlando, we're done.
I think they will have carved themselves a heck of a hole to climb out of. And I think the trend in their form, I think that's going to be really difficult to reverse. So yeah, I can get on board with that take.
Wow, I don't agree at all. I think it's too close. Teams are playing against each other. The following the
Yeah.
opponents that we're fighting against, they're playing against each other. We're playing only Western teams, so if we lose that game, not the end of the world. If we win one of our two home games, we're back in the game. So we're back in the hunt. So I don't know. I don't think
I just think like winless in 6 is like it's a rough skid to turn yourself out of.
Yeah, minus the 5 too. So I don't know.
And
For
I know
me,
they were like winless in 1,000,000 to start the season.
it's the same thing.
Yeah.
At one point, you just need one strike of luck or one good
Have they
game,
had
and
strikes of
then
luck this season other than bad luck?
no, we did have I think 7-game unbeaten run or something
No,
like
yeah,
that
but
at
that
one
wasn't
point.
lucky, right? I'm saying that I don't think Montreal's had
But
any
it
luck.
started with I think it started with a very lucky a lucky game if I remember correctly.
God, it feels like 100 years ago. Anyway, yeah.
It was a long
Yeah.
time ago. So yeah, so no, I don't think that game is going to decide our run. So let's wait and see.
Okay.
Let's wait and see. Second tweet is from Emile A Soccer
I love
that
Emil's takes.
that says it is possible to succeed in Losada's philosophy. Atlanta played as CF Montreal wants to play, and they were devastating. Fast transitions, high pressing, without any silly slowdowns to wait for support and options. Atlanta was everything Montreal wants to be. Do you agree with that take?
Yes, except for the fact that, like, obviously, I think the way Atlanta has built their team, as far as say the players that they have built their team with, I think Montreal, is very devoted to their philosophy of developing young players, whereas Atlanta has a lot of established players in their lineup. So that would be, but otherwise, I think stylistically speaking,
Yeah, that's why he was saying
yeah,
more style of play, not
yeah,
really the
effect.
squad itself
Yeah,
and
the only thing is, I think it's more effective, obviously, when you don't have a ton of young players who are finding their feet in the league, because it's obviously a very challenging, very taxing style of play. But yeah, I think by and large, if Montreal could replicate the way Atlanta plays, it would be very easy on the eyes.
yeah. I don't know. I feel that we haven't seen much of the high press. So I don't know if that's exactly what Hernando Sa wants to put in place, because I think we saw the high
We
press.
see it on occasions.
Yeah, but it's very, very
It's
rare.
very
We saw it a
sporadic.
lot
Yeah.
against Columbus. We
Yep.
saw it a bit yesterday against Atlanta at first, but that's it. It's very rare that we see that. So I don't know, but on paper, I feel that that's what they want to
Yeah.
do. But I don't know if the players are not really understanding what Losada wants, or if we're not understanding what Losada wants and he wants something completely different. I'm not really sure. But on the pitch, I don't see even the I don't see the team really trying to display that kind of play. So I don't know. We'll see. Third tweet, it's from Sam A. Don't understand the point of limping into the playoffs to get blown out the first game. It is hard to stay a fan of this team when they are not interested in winning. Just a fan's humble opinion. Eve.
I mean, like I have said it. How many times have I said it, Hady? You have to be kind of made of strong stuff to be a fan of this team, because their philosophy is developing young players who, right off the bat, you can't even get attached to players, right? Because if Montreal's
You're not attached to Samuel Piet or Mathieu Chouanière.
Many of the players.
Yep.
Most of the players
you
who
don't
they bring
need to
in
be
these
attached
days,
to all the players, right? Like you need 2, 3, right, to get attached to.
Hady, you just told me like 10 minutes ago that I'm a softie, so apparently I'm attached to everyone.
No, just for the women's national team, not for the others. You're not a softie for me or for Elias or for anybody. Just the women's national team.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I apologize. I meant, okay, noted. Anyway, okay, back to the tweet. I feel like it's a little bit black and white the way it was portrayed there. I don't think it's like there's a lack of interest in winning necessarily. I just think that the way that they go about building their squad is not necessarily setting them up to be a consistent contender of a team every year, because the cycle ends and then it begins, and it's like such a schism between the end of one cycle and the start of a new one that you're in for a little bit of pain. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to be made of tough stuff.
Yeah, I talked to quite a few times about this topic. I just wanted to ask your opinion regarding that. If, in my opinion, I don't follow a team because they're going to win the championship. I follow a team because I have emotions for that team, and whatever the emotions are. In that instance, for CF Montreal, it's my city's team. It's my club. It's where I live. It's where I've been for the last 20 some years. So my bond is not towards the team winning. It's to my roots in a certain way. So I don't see it as that. Of course, when they win, I'm very, very happy. If they're a contender for the MLS Cup, but that's a bonus for me. Mm-hmm. What's nice is to go see those young players develop. What's nice is to go see that team play, win important games, and not important games as being an MLS Cup, but just going and playing whatever Atlanta and winning at home just for a normal regular game or even a friendly game is, for me, is enough. It's I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but
well, that's everybody has their standard, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And some people want to follow a team that's going to regularly contend for championships. Some people just want to watch the local team. Some people just want to eat stadium food.
Exactly. But you know what? And that's what I don't understand. And in what Sam's saying is that he doesn't understand why it would be important to do the play-in if we're going to come out of the first round. But it's important because you're going to live a game, a play-in game in Montreal. And then if you go through, then you're going to live a playoff game in Montreal, because we all know that the first round, it's going to be a three-legged tie. So... Mm-hmm. And that's what you live for as a supporter, to go and experience those emotions and those high pressure games, and win or lose is still emotions that you're still living with your team. And I think that's what's beautiful about soccer.
Yeah.
So that's my take on this tweet. Fourth, Sarah from Rain City. Sarah, by the way, I know I've been saying this forever, but I'm building my team around Adriana Leon for my MVP / Canadian women's national team. Are you team Sarah?
Building the team around Adriana Leon. I feel like the midfield is the team, like it's where you want to build your team around. So for me, I'm like, I built it around like that Fleming Grosso tandem.
Interesting. I like the a lot of people really love Adriana Leon, and I love her too. I think she's really, really good. Fortunately, sometimes she's not very efficient in front of goal, and that's really what drives me crazy. But she's really, really good at dribbling players, and the intensity she puts on the pitch is really interesting. And I feel that you want to have this type of player as a starter in your starting 11, because she shows the way for other players. She's the one that really pushes everybody and motivates everybody in a way, because she's running all over the pitch all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you can hear my son.
He always makes a guest appearance.
So no, I kind of agree. Maybe not building the team around Adriana Leon, but having her in the starting 11, I think is going to be very important going forward. She's only 30, so she's here. I think she's going to bring that veteran presence up front. And I think she could be very interesting as a starter going forward. Moving on, last but not least, it's from the Canadian Soccer Daily for women's internationals are now unrestricted free agents in the NWSL. I'll give you the four names: Christine Sinclair, Alicia Chapman, Desiree Scott, and Bianca Saint George.
Oh
What
my
do
gosh.
you make of this?
When I
Yeah,
was
it's
looking at the
not.
picture, I was like,
Yeah,
I was like, I know Caitlin Sheridan
no,
signed an extension.
no. There's two of
Yep.
them in the picture, and
Yep.
the other two weren't.
That's right. Okay, so I'm so sorry. Because I got so sidetracked. What was your question? What do I think is gonna happen for them?
Yeah,
Oh gosh, that's hard to say, I feel like Bianca Saint George still has I think she can easily make her home with many an NWSL team, just if I think really quickly. If Chicago doesn't opt to make some sort of, move to extend her contract or renew her or what have you. As for I think Christine Sinclair, it's complicated. I mean, obviously with Portland, there's so much history there. It's hard to imagine her playing anywhere else. Really hard. Desiree Scott, I will be honest with you, I worry because that injury, she still unfortunately hasn't come back from that injury that she picked up, and it's coming up on being a very long time now. So I do kind of wonder about her future, and I do worry a little bit there. And as for Alicia Chapman, she's certainly on the
34 now, huh?
yeah, she's in the later stages for sure of her career, but I think she does have a lot of veteran presence that she could offer maybe to many teams. I don't think necessarily she's said her last goodbye either. I know that she's definitely been a very important player for the Dash. So I'll be really curious if these players stay unrestricted free agents, or if, as the season winds to a close, there aren't some quick deals with their current clubs.
You know what? I just hope, Bianca Saint George, I'm not really afraid for her. I'm pretty sure she's gonna
No.
find a club. Maybe she didn't sign an extension, maybe she's looking for a
Yeah.
European club. That's possible too. So let's wait and see of what's gonna happen. I would see her play in Europe, so hopefully we'll see that. For the remaining three, I just hope they stick around this season, sign a
A 1-year
whatever
deal.
contract, just for 1-year contract, and then please join the Canadian Women's League here in 2025.
That would be massive to
I think
have
that's
those
going to be
three
important.
players.
But even Christine Sinclair, even if she'll be 42, then just give us a season with the league, and I think that will be immense. Desiree Scott is right now 36. I think she can make it for 38. Alicia at 36. It's possible. We're gonna need those big names for first season in
Agree.
a Canadian league. So hopefully we'll see them there. If not, but you know what? I understand. There's a possibility that Christine Sinclair hangs up her boots, but
Yeah.
I think she would have said it ahead of time.
I kind of feel like she would have, yeah.
I don't know.
Especially just given how much history she has with Portland, I feel like you would want to make sure that the Portland fans have a lot of advance notice so that they can make sure that to get out and watch her play.
Yeah, for her last game or whatever. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Or she's someone that's really private sometimes. So
yeah,
maybe she doesn't want those celebrations and stuff. So maybe she'll say it. Hey, by the way, that was my final game, and just hangs up her boots. I hope not. But let's wait and see.
Indeed. All right. So I do believe that brings us to the end of our show for this evening. So thank you so much for Hady for joining me tonight to talk about, some ugly soccer, some fun soccer. As always, it was a blast breaking it down and having friendly disagreements with you. So thanks for that. As usual, exactly. And thanks to everybody who listened along live with us tonight and who's going to listen throughout the week. Thanks to everyone who sent in comments, and for those of you who regularly send us questions and stuff as well. We're always so grateful for your support. If you do want to support the podcast in other ways, we do have a Patreon that exists, and that will, of course, just help us grow our product and bring you an even better podcast down the line. And with that being said, next week is episode 150 of The Ball is Round, a historic event. And one final thank you to those of you who have been with us since day one, back when it was Paul and Hady. And have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week for another episode of The Ball is Round.